Welcome. This is Bridges Muji Bakochola.
Prison quality,
as we build a sustainable environment for growth. Across the world, and particularly in many parts of our country, Nigeria, girls continue to face significant barriers in accessing education. These barriers are not just unfortunate, but unjust in the 21st century. Well, experts would say poverty continues to keep families from affording school fees, uniforms, materials. We have security matters, and of course the environment, the general environment that should encourage girls to stay in school. It's not quite there. And that's our focus on Bridges today. Why is it that more Nigerian young girls who have the potentials to fast-track development in this country are not in school? And for us on Bridges, this is not just a one-off. It's a continuous thing that we intend to do with partners that we came across, and we got excited and invited them on set. What their drive or their campaign is titled Educate to Empower. So we brought them to the studio, and leading that is Efe Omorogbe. Is it Efe Omorogbe? Yes. Efe Omorogbe is a media guru himself, but is here on the premise of championing educate to empower, particularly girls. Efe, thank you so much for coming.
An absolute pleasure.
Yes. And I have a volunteer. She's a public health expert. But beyond that, I would say she's a social care driver. So Dr. Adah-Ogoh is here. Representing the volunteer group, which of course Bridges belong to. Dr. Ann, thank you so much for coming. And I wish you could just open up that t-shirt a bit so that my viewers can see Educate to Empower. Now, Efe, why did you come into this?
By design and by accident at the same time. So first and foremost, behind every girl that's out of school, there's a male influence. Either as a father, as an educator, as a sibling, as a husband. There is a mess. So institutionally, the institutional barriers that keep girls out of school are largely male controlled. And so it's not a women's problem. It's not a girls' issue. It's a Nigerian issue, and the males have a critical role to play in that conversation. That's the design. The accident is that a little while ago I had the honor of producing a documentary. And in the course of producing that documentary, it's titled Adah, Empowered by Education, the story of Justice Zainab Okachua. I saw firsthand, I felt firsthand how a simple decision to keep one girl in school can unlock so many possibilities. And as a storyteller, as a media executive, as a creative entrepreneur who has worked for more than 15 years, supporting development communication, I figured myself and my team that this is a worthy cause and we have to commit to it.
Thank you. Now, Dr. Adah, you're an example of that girl, fortunate, that stayed through school. And today we proudly say we call her doctor, not, as not just as an acclaim, but as something that you've achieved. Why are you volunteering for this? Why do you think it's important?
So the story of the volunteer builds on an accident as well, where I had an opportunity to listen firsthand to a story of someone's life who that could have been very different from what we see it as, and the struggles behind how that story today came to be, that we see her as one of the Chief Justices of the Federation. And that story completely resonates with me because I had an opportunity as well to step out of line and not be in school at a point. And so for me, this was a worthy cause, to jump on and be part of the story.
Well, getting this when we're discussing this program, one of the things that we found out was that early marriage and teenage pregnancy cut short the dreams of too many young girls, and deep-rooted cultural beliefs often prioritize boys' education to girls' education. Thank God for my father.
Yeah.
Bless his soul. Yes, Efe, how do we contextualize this in the sense of what you've said at the very beginning, and of course removing these gaps and building a solid bridge towards ensuring that our girls receive the same kind of education and, you know, allowed to stay in school, so to speak?
The gaps are holding us back. So we can decide to stay pig-headed and do the same thing we've done all the while and stay rooted to where we are. Or we can unlock opportunities for those girls and watch the entire society benefit immensely. Some of the smartest people I know in my life are females. Some of the key drivers in every organization I've worked with are females. Intellectually, there's no gender in intellectual capacity. What you can do, how much impact you can make in your life and the life of your family and the life of your community has nothing to do with gender. So any society that doesn't encourage the women folk to be the best versions of themselves, it's self-robbery, self-denial. So it's a cause that we have to be intentional, we have to be strategic, we have to be bullish about in trying to correct the problems. It's everybody's problems, and we can't run away from it.
Let's use the health lens, you know, to see some of these barriers why girls would not stay in school. And let's hear from you, Dr. Adah.
So, beginning from when girls are infants, there are thousands of reasons, you know, that disproportionately will put the girl child out of school, right from when puberty begins to develop until that teenager begins her first menstrual cycle, where there may not be opportunities, there may not even be bathroom facilities, where there is nobody to talk her through this period. And even as she continues to develop, dealing with all of the issues around being an adolescent and entanglement with the male species, if two people get involved and one gets pregnant, one person bears more of the burden. So it's more like the chicken and the pig who contributes more to breakfast. So at this point, the lady has to sacrifice, you know, her education most of the time. She's the one who is sent away from school. So that becomes a missed opportunity. As women also, growing up in families, women have traditional roles of providing care for the family. So if anyone at all was to leave, you know, to take care of an ill family member, traditionally it's the girl child. So more times you have girls having more missed days, you know, in school as compared to, you know, the male child. And because again, females psychologically, from the health perspective, mature faster than men, than boys, same age, biologically, but psychologically more matured, more advanced. There is a tendency to assign to a girl a more a role that is lighter years ahead of her as compared, you know, to the male child. And with all of these barriers in place, health-wise and otherwise, it becomes easier for the girl child to miss out on education as compared, you know, with the boy child.
So yes.
Yeah, and just to chip in something, this is not even within it's not necessarily within the health spectrum, but in terms of the socioeconomic angle, in many communities in Nigeria, when a family has financial challenges, say for example, there are two daughters and one male child, 8 out of 10 times, what you find is the families sending out the girls to maybe work as housekeepers, house helps, and supporting the family. So exposing them to a role where they are earning money to support the family, and oftentimes a chunk of that money is used to send the males to school.
And stalling their educational pursuit. Okay, now we have identified that we do have a huge gap. So going forward, because that's what we try to do on Bridges, going forward, what are the next steps? What are the things that are important that will ensure that our girls stay in school, that some measure of equity is advanced for girls' education? Any of you?
It's a multi-pronged approach. At different levels, everybody has a degree of responsibility. But in terms of, from where we stand, the key thing is awareness. Is a social campaign that highlights the benefits of the girl-child education. Sometimes, like in my opening, position, what I stated was that as a society, what we lose is not quantifiable. The theme for our event, our launch event, the title was "The Educated Girl, Nigeria's richest untapped resource." Our keynote speaker was Dr. Mrs. Aisha Mohammed Oyebode, and when she started talking about this issue, if anybody had the opportunity to engage this conversation, would actually see that it's self-injury to deny, to set up society in Nigeria in such a way that there's even the belief that in terms of productive results, that there's anything the society gains actually by limiting the girls' opportunities to education. So there's awareness. There's even creating actual support systems where, like the E2E campaign, for example, we have a scholarship element. We have the awareness. We have we design such a way that during our road shows, all the elements are brought together to engage the community. And everybody is not a female targeted campaign. So the community leaders, the religious leaders, all the local influencers, the parents, the educators, we bring everybody into a space, and for over a 2-3 hour period, different presentations, different activities, all happen to highlight, to raise awareness about how important it is.
Are you tracking some of the, should we say outcomes from some of the things you've done?
Yes, definitely.
Is it hitting this?
So for Educate to Empower, because our approach is more institutional, our approach is more community driven, believing that we do not want to ask the people to come to us. Educate to Empower goes to the community and lives in the community and understands the nuances of every community, because what Educate to Empower has done for us is to help us understand that every community in Nigeria is different one from another. So we do not have a one-size-fits-all situation. Our program is very iterative. Our program is extremely responsive. And that's why we have seen some of the tremendous impacts that we have seen, where in certain communities now, more and more people are beginning to talk about educating the girl child. More and more people are beginning to talk about the barriers, to educating a girl child. More and more people are beginning to talk about what institutional reforms, can we make available to ensuring that the girl child is equipped, for the future. People now know that it is important, to engage both the family and whatever educational systems exist, because you can create a demand, but the government has a significant role, to play in ensuring that there is a supply. There are also several stakeholders, the role of the media, creating that awareness, telling the stories in the way and manner that the people can understand, speaking to them in the language of change that is not only sustainable, but speaking to them in that language of change that remains long after Educate to Empower has closed.
I'll come back to you again, and I just like that coinage, best version of yourself. Creating or recreating that best version of yourself. And that's what we're trying to do here now. In doing that, what's your appeal to our listeners, our viewers?
Our primary appeal is that people should get involved. people should take
Do
responsibility.
we see this as a minus in our national development from your experience going around?
It's not a minus. It's an emergency. The UNESCO figures from 2024 throw up about 18.3 million Nigerian kids out of school. More than 60% of that number are females. That is the largest number in the world. So if we're talking about emergency situations, emergency intervention from both public sector, private sector players, individuals, religious institutions, everybody has to take responsibility and play their part to ensure that we send our kids back to school. So when they're not in school, when they're not well educated, there's the loss of capacity, the loss of productivity. But then again, there's another flip side. And a population that's not educated, that's not empowered, cannot compete by global standards. Then they're also more vulnerable to illness, to disease, to being pulled into all kinds of antisocial activities, from mild to intensely dangerous. So it is a national emergency, and everybody has a role to play. And we hope that they can take personal responsibility and do what they can.
It is a national emergency. Let's look at policy in terms of how does it address this whole thing. We hope that we can share some of these thoughts with the Federal Ministry of Health. We hope we can share some of this with the Federal Ministry of Education, because we have a minister who is in a hurry to change the dynamics of the education sector. So what are your thoughts on this in terms of addressing policies that will at least create an enabling environment to have more girls in school? Should it be legislated, for example?
Yes, so I think that the legislation that enables girl-child education already exists. So what we need to do is the domestication of that legislation, ensuring that this translates into actionable steps, making sure that the policies are enduring, and making sure that these policies speak to the realities on ground. So luckily the current Minister of Education is one who is passionate about girl-child education, and for me this is a low-hanging fruit in terms of just making sure that the rubber meets the road and ensuring that these policies actually translate. He has made very key policy statements in the last couple of months, and we see how quickly the landscape for education is transforming. And so it's just one of the many things within this trajectory of transformation, that I think can happen in terms of deliberate increase in enrollment of the girl child, in education.
Yes, if with your experience and how you quickly caught up, with Educate for Empowerment, what are those things that, even as individuals, that we can do? Because oftentimes we heap a lot on expectations from government. Yes, government can, policies and all that. But I always want to say that individuals too have a responsibility, like what both of you are doing, which we are very proud of, and engaging with us. So what exactly, speak out to our viewers.
So why do I personally take the issue of awareness very, very importantly? It's because people are a product of their choices, right? And these choices are usually the product of a mindset. And mindsets are seriously, influenced by stories. So our key niche, my primary skill is storytelling, is communication. So what I'm doing is to work with my team to ensure that we deploy the kind of communication, we create and deploy the kind of communication assets that would help to effect behavioral change. Because
absolutely,
behind every girl out of school girl in Nigeria, there's an adult whose decisions has directly affected that. And if they come to a place of awareness, first and foremost, if there's a bit of a tilt in the balance, gender equality, if we were to dilute the patriarchy a little bit more and see the girl child and see the women folk as assets in the development of our homes, our societies, and our nation, then the choices we make will reflect that understanding. So the awareness is very important, and storytelling and community engagement is a serious part of that. However, by taking personal risk, if, for example, I were a father who was contemplating taking my grandchild out of school, and I have a wife, or even a sibling, or an older child, a male child, who comes to me and say, "Daddy, this kid has to stay in school," that in itself can force a rethink of my position. So that's as little as it is. Everybody's action, firm, intentional action to curb this malaise would, at the end of the day, deliver the right kind of results, which means more enrollment, more re-enrollment of girls already out of school, more enrollment for girls who are not in school yet, and generally just a better situation as far as the education stuff is concerned.
Well, when we're thinking about bringing you on set, we did say that would also include the voice of a young girl who is making an appeal to ensure that her peers remain in school. So we'll have you on now. Biola, come on.
I'm a girl and a proud graduate, and because I support girls' education, I want more of me.
Okay, that's it. We've heard from her. Now let's have your final word as we round up this very interesting conversation, which we must keep alive. You promise we'll keep it alive? Yes.
We will be here.
You'll be here. So let's hear the final words from you.
First of all, we have to really thank you for making available this platform, for your support. It's very encouraging when people take up this kind of task and they receive the right kind of energy. It's very encouraging. So a million thanks for your support.
It's a collective responsibility.
Yes. Of course, you had a choice to say, okay, we can talk about this next month or something.
No. It's an emergency.
Yeah, so thank you very much for that. It's an emergency, and we need to react quickly, strategically, to ensure that we turn the tide.
Yes, Anne.
And I'd like to encourage everyone to jump on the ship, to leave our couches, to put our feet on the ground, and to know that in our own small corner, every little deliberate, purposeful effort will make a difference.
I love that. Every deliberate and purposeful contribution will make a difference. You actually can today try, encourage yourselves to adopt a child, a girl child, and put that and ensure that that child remains in school. You can contribute in every way, textbooks, even little pencils. It will go a long way to keep that child in school, and also help the environment of that institution, that primary school, that secondary school. Let's build something, water, sanitation that will keep the girls in school during those days of the month. But more importantly, our experts here say it's an emergency. Our girl child must remain in school, and doing that, we would be accelerating national development. We'll continue with this conversation. Let's have your views. Thanks for watching, and thanks for coming on Bridges. Bridges will be back same time next week.